been 7 years now since Canada's first troops arrived in Afghanistan. Since early 2002, our soldiers have done their best to bring security to one of the roughest, toughest parts of that country. Coming up, an avalanche survivor in BC tells his story. 8 men were killed in the tragedy. Plus, Montrealers getting ready to attend President-elect Barack Obama's inauguration. And as we speak, President Obama is meeting with Stephen Harper, a one-on-one meeting inside the Prime Minister's office. The big question will be, what will they be discussing? Now, I just want to expand a little bit about that walkabout in Ottawa's Byward Market, because this was just such a great example of Barack Obama's style. Anyone who's ever been to Ottawa knows the Byward Market is very popular with tourists, sort of an eclectic mix of shops and bakeries. And he was taking pictures with people. He was waving to the crowd. It was very casual. It was completely unannounced. We're going to start with China, of course. There are only hours to go now before the 2008 Olympic Games begin. Athletes from right around the world are arriving in Beijing. Final preparations by organizers are all but done now. You didn't take this job on to become leader of the opposition. You want to be prime minister at one point, obviously. Is Canada losing its way right now?
I think it is. It's interesting you put it that way.
Election 2008, live from the CTV Election Center in Montreal. Here now are Mutsumi Takahashi and Tvdh.
Good evening and welcome to CTV's coverage of Election 2008.
And welcome to viewers right across Canada who are watching us on CTV Newsnet. We are declaring it will be a Liberal majority government. It'll be interesting to see, though, how these popular vote numbers turn out, to see just in terms of how many people actually went to the polls. Because that was the other side of this, right? By calling this election, people were worried that it was going to depress voter turnout because there was no major issues. John McCain, as you know, has been running very much a defensive campaign in the last final days of this, sort of trying to hold on to some of those deep red Republican states that went to George Bush last time around. It's kind of hard to be sympathetic when you read a lot of analysts saying that these car companies did it to themselves. They made bland, boring cars that people didn't want to buy. They made gas guzzlers that weren't friendly to the environment. Coming back 5 years later, we found a former Montrealer who was here during 9/11, still lives in New York City. We wanted to talk to him a bit to get his perspective and see things through his eyes on this 5th anniversary. You face protests by separatists and, of course, the way to history in the form of your father's legacy. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good, actually, Todd.
Are you worried that you're all going to kind of cannibalize each other's voters in this race?
Not at all. Very much, thanks.
Jason Rockman. And, you know, I've been reading comics since I was 13. I still read them, but I'm not that familiar with Will Eisner's The Spirit. So we got the trailer for the movie, but explain before we get to that what exactly the story of The Spirit is.
Well, the faster you go is the faster the orchestra will perform. If you slow it down, the orchestra will slow down. And it's a kind of fun way. Actually, this is the most fun I've had playing this game.
I really don't need the other hand, do I?
No.
I had a dream about you last night.
Oh, he's dreaming weather.
No, actually, we were sitting at the desk, and the teleprompter came around this side and was trying to attack you, and I was saving you.
Thanks for saving my life, Todd. I appreciate that.
I thought I'd tell you about that dream.
I knew you'd have my back.